The Legions of Athena. Chapter 18. Mia and the others were up in suite number 7 again. None of them were in a very talkative mood. Achilles was meditating in his seat. Rex was pacing around restlessly while Hedger sulked in a corner. It was all because of Maximus. Mia herself was looking out the large window, staring at the crowds. She didn't know what she was hoping for, but she wished that maybe she would spot Max somewhere down there. When she and Hedger had gone to Max's room in the morning, he was nowhere to be found. They searched the entire West Tower with no result, but they weren't worried till it was time to leave for the Colosseum, and he still hadn't shown up. She had hoped that maybe he had gone there beforehand to get a good look at the arena, but she knew that kind of planning ahead wasn't his style. Once they had reached the Colosseum, they had all gathered downstairs in a hall to register for the Owlets tournament. The 7 tyros and the other 8 competitors were all present there. By now the participants had gotten wind that Maximus hadn't arrived yet. Mia overheard a few of the tyros snickering that Max had gotten cold feet and was hiding like a coward. This annoyed Mia more than she cared to admit. She didn't know why, but she hated those tyros for laughing at Max. The weird thing was, she made fun of Max a lot, but this was different. She couldn't explain it, but she felt as if only she was allowed to pick on that idiot. Where the heck is he? She thought to herself. Mia couldn't believe that she was worrying about some stupid tournament, or about someone other than herself for that matter. Her life had been unpleasant, to say the least. She was taken from her home at a young age and had escaped her captors only over a year back, but she was still not truly free. Her hand automatically moved to the hidden mark on her arm. The mark of the candle was much more than just some unpleasant tattoo. It was a symbol placed with great magic infused into it. It was how her captors had been tracking her all this while. So she had been running ever since she had escaped, and there was never any time to care about anyone other than herself. But things were different now. During her travels, she had never stopped searching for a way to remove the mark, but had always been unsuccessful. That was until she heard that the General of Athens sheltered any who escaped from that dreadful place she had been held captive at. And General Odysseus had helped. The witches and wizards at the Hams had taken her in and done what she thought was impossible. They had removed the magical properties of the mark, which meant she could no longer be tracked. They said they could remove it from her skin as well, but she chose not to do so. She wanted the mark of the candle there on her arm to remind herself all that she had endured. Mia tried to push all these thoughts away. She was free now, and that was all that was important. She decided to distract herself by looking at the main podium, which had only 2 chairs on it today. Just then, Odysseus came in and announced, "Good news, everyone. I just heard from downstairs. It seems they found Maximus." A sigh of relief filled the room. "Where the hell was that runt?" Rex demanded. "No idea," Odysseus said. "Didn't get a chance to see him, but one of the guards sent word that he had arrived and had been taken to the arena gates as to prepare him for the tournament. You can ask him personally after the match." "I'll do more than ask him, I'll tell you that." "Running around sightseeing in the last minute," Rex grumbled. The mood had gotten much lighter in the room now that they had found Max. Mia thought it best to change the subject. "Now that we located that idiot, we can relax. So how come there are only 2 chairs on stage?" she said. "Ah well, only Helen of Troy and Athena today, I'm afraid. Both Apollo and Triton have already departed," Odysseus answered. "Really? They came all this way, and they're not even staying for the festival?" Hedger asked. "Frankly, it's a miracle Triton even set foot in Athens at all. Relations between Athena and Poseidon are strained to say the least," Odysseus said. "As for Apollo, he is an Olympian god after all. He does have a country to run." Mia noticed Achilles had stopped his meditation at the mention of Apollo's name. She was sure Achilles wouldn't miss the sun god one bit. "What about Daedalus?" Mia inquired. "Will he be joining us?" Odysseus scratched his beard and replied, "Well, I haven't seen him all day, but that's not surprising. He really is not a fan of the fighting bouts. Knowing him, he's probably cooped up in one of his labs away from all this commotion." With that, all of them settled down as the Owlets tournament was about to begin. At the same time, far away in the outskirts of Athens, even outside the limits of the Aegis Wall, near a large saltwater lake, a majestic white-winged stallion stood grazing in the field. Perseus spotted his trusty steed from a mile away. He was hoping to get away from Athens before any further complications arose. That, however, was often impossible when the gods were involved. As he approached the lakeside, a figure appeared right next to Pegasus and began petting him. It looked like the man had teleported out of thin air, but Perseus knew that it was the pure speed of the messenger god fooling the naked eye. Hermes turned to the warrior and said, "You're alone. Why are you alone? Don't tell me you failed to capture the old man." "In a manner of speaking," Perseus said sheepishly. Hermes was annoyed by this response. "When you told me to meet you here by the lake, I assumed you would have completed the job. In a way I have, just not the way you had hoped for," Perseus clarified. "Daedalus is dead." The messenger god's eyes widened in shock. "What do you mean dead?" "Dead, as in no longer living," Perseus retorted, pleased with the response. "That tends to happen when I stick my blade into people. You killed him. You betrayed our benefactor," Hermes snarled through gritted teeth. "Well, I've been waiting for a long time to do so, for all the terrible deeds he made me do." but I didn't think that he would give me the opportunity himself. Life is funny that way, Perseus said. His face had gone cold, and his hand was already at his sword's hilt, just in case. You arrogant fool, Hermes shouted. Do you have any idea what you have done? Can you even imagine the repercussions? What's he going to do? Kill everyone I love? Perseus said with a satisfied smirk. Here's a newsflash. They're already dead. As for me, I welcome death. Death? You think your punishment will be as simple as death? Hermes said. The last man who betrayed him now spends all of eternity having his insides eaten by vultures. He wasn't even some lowly demigod like you. He was a titan. But Perseus was well aware of the wrath he would have to face. He had taken some precautions of his own. Well, he would have to catch me first, Perseus replied. Hermes laughed at this. And what makes you think I won't take you to him right now? You think you or your flying horse is going to stop me? No, not us, Perseus said coolly, but we are standing near water. It took a moment for Hermes to realize the threat, and once he did, he swirled around to face the lake. In the lake, 4 battle-hardened mermen were aiming their rifles at the messenger god. Out of the edge of the lake, another merman walked onto the land, his tail fins transforming into legs as he did so. The conch-shaped cannon on his arm was aimed straight at Hermes' head. Triton, Hermes said with disgust. So Perseus, you have gone ahead and become friends with the fishes, have you? Triton responded to this with a toothy grin, one that revealed his pointed shark-like teeth. Any man who dares to put a wrench in your master's plans and kill one of that pompous Athena's closest advisors is more than a friend, Hermes. He's under our protection. Hermes was enraged by these words. Don't be so cocky, fish face. I didn't become an Olympian god by cowering at threats from the likes of you, but you would be wise to heed my words. Triton said, For a threat from me is a threat from Admiral Poseidon himself. And the last I checked, your kingdom of Mercury had a very long coastline. Hermes couldn't believe this turn of events. It was a rare sight indeed for the trickster to get tricked, and he didn't like it one bit. But Hermes knew when he was at a disadvantage as well. He turned to Perseus one last time and said, Well played. Then in the blink of an eye he disappeared. This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey Series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.